They're all just different times of his life.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Young Greg, older Greg.
My God, what have I gotten into? I don't know.
Welcome to the Hometown Bluegrass Show weekly podcast presented by Allen Music Shop. Co-hosts Tim Batts and 20-time Bluegrass Guitar Player of the Year Josh Williams will talk about the latest bluegrass news, interview folks in the industry, and give you lighthearted stories and music tips along the way. Now, here's Tim and Josh.
And here is Tim and Josh.
Here we are, right here.
Right here at Allen Music Shop.com, downtown Paducah, Kentucky. The home of, what is Paducah, Kentucky, the home of?
It's the home of the National Quilt Museum.
Quilt City, USA, which we just endured another week of 10,000 extra quilters.
Yes. Yeah.
And we survived.
We did. Yeah.
Yep, we survived. So Paducah, Kentucky is home of the American Quilt Museum and the annual quilt show, which brings lots of little old ladies to this area.
Yes, definitely.
And we're proud to make it through another week of that. So hope you've had a great week. You're listening to the Hometown Bluegrass Show, and we've got a great show coming up for you, man. We got some cool stuff like this.
Where no one could ever be.
Oh, yeah.
He brought it down to Nashville. They all knew his name.
Who's that guy?
The Special Consensus. We got Greg Cahill coming up, and we are so excited to talk to him. And
Bear down on that fiddle, son.
When you play it on you, Skinner.
who was that singing?
Oh, you got and then some. Actually, that's Chris Jones there.
That was Chris Jones.
But the next time it would be me again.
That's right. So we're excited to talk to Greg and hear about all the 50 great years of bluegrass music that Special C has put out for everybody.
Man, 50 years.
50 years of great
50
music.
years.
So that ought to be fun. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, Greg's awesome. He's going to be fun to chat with, so it's going to be a good
He's
time.
a super guy.
He is, man. I mean, yeah. I love the guy. Yeah, I've loved him for years, man. He's just a great dude. On top of skilled banjo player and band leader and record producer and all kinds of different things. So,
Man of many hats, but most of all, just a super genuine nice guy.
yep. And he does have a lot of hats. I've seen him wear several different cowboy hats along the way.
That's right. Cowboy from Chicago.
That's right. You know, hey, there's horses up there in Illinois too. You know,
That's right. That's right.
but a lot of people down here call it Illinois.
That's true.
But my mother was born in Danville, Illinois, and she will be the first one to quickly tell you there is no noise in Illinois.
That's right. There's no S sound in Illinois. Well, we are glad you are here with us, and we got a great show, like we said earlier. Lots of cool things coming up. Josh is going to teach us a little guitar tip, play us a little tune maybe. First of all, we're going to talk about some BluegrassToday.com news. We got some sad news to report today, don't we, Josh?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do. Unfortunately, the very famed mandolin player, Frank Wakefield, passed away this weekend. And this past weekend, and man, he was the writer of the mandolin tune "New Camptown Races," among others. And but that was probably his most notoriable tune that he had written. And but just a fantastic mandolin player, a little quirky. He was a little quirky.
Was he?
Yeah, he would. Well, anytime he would refer to himself, he would call himself Wake Frankfield. And he would always get stuff like that. Like he would do it on purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very intelligent, very intelligent man. And but he had some quirks about him. I know one of the biggest ones that has been talked about over the years in the bluegrass community is how he put his old Gibson mandolin in the oven and baked it.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess. It said something about that during here in the story somewhere, and I'm trying to think.
Was it to try to help the sound, or did he ruin it, or what?
No, it had a thing for him, like if I can just find it where it said where he did. we'll find it here in a minute. But anyway, it talked about how he would put it in the oven and it would actually improve its tone. But yeah, he would, he thought it made it sound better if he would put it in the oven and bake it in intervals. So
there you go.
And I don't know if it did or not, but I do know his mandolin sounded mighty good.
Well, there you go.
But it was a lure, so it probably sounded pretty good to begin with, you know. But
so.
I don't know. I did not ever get to meet Frank, unfortunately. I am very, very familiar with his music over the years, and of course, you know, the time that I worked with Tony always thought very highly of Frank.
Did he?
Yeah, he really did. Of course, Frank, in his younger days, played a lot with Red Allen. And Red Allen was friends with Tony and friends with all those guys. And in fact, he was one of the original Kentucky Mountain Boys with J.D. Crowe. That was J.D. Crowe's first band. Kentucky Mountain Boys later became the New South whenever Tony joined in 1971. But yeah, it was the Kentucky Mountain Boys before that. And so yeah, he and Red did a lot of playing together over the years. And in fact, I know that Frank had a band, and I don't think Red was in this. I could be wrong. Maybe he was. But I do know that they did like a bunch of shows with the Grateful Dead opening up for them. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of another, you know, big feather in the cap for Frank back in the days. You know, that's how a lot of people got to know who he was. And he was a great mandolin player, man. And actually a pretty decent singer too. A lot of people don't realize that, but he was a pretty good singer. But yeah, I guess he decided at one point to paint the mandolin. I don't remember. There's just so much that he did that was kind of that people talk about. I know that he painted it red, I think, at one point, and then he baked it in the oven. I don't know, but he was a very unique character. I do know that, and you know, who knows if some of that was, you know, just something that he really felt like needed to be done, or if some of it was just to be different so people would talk. Because, you know, a lot of those guys back in the day, they wanted people to talk about them.
Right.
So they would do outlandish things to get that recognition, you know, be talked about. And then again, it could have all, you know, played a part in how good his mandolin sounded.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, right here on Bluegrass Today, it said he's quoted saying, "I baked my mandolin for 20 minutes. It was just at the temperature where it wouldn't melt the paint, but it dried the paint that I had on top of it. I figured it really did a number on it, but actually thought it sounded better. A lot of it is just psychological."
Yeah. There you go. So. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's the spray paint he's referring to about it being baked on top of it there. But man, it did sound good.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, sad to hear of his passing, and
that's just another living legend in bluegrass gone, man. And it's scary. Everybody's, you know, they're all dying out. It seems like every other week we hear about something, you know. And
well, I hope the young ones are replacing them as fast as some of the legends are passing on. So.
I hope so too. You know, he was 89 years old. Frank was. Wow. So
he lived a good long life.
Yeah. He did, and made a lot of great music, and fly high, my friend. Best to you. So, and thank you for the music that you blessed all of us with.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, if you want to learn more about the Hometown Bluegrass Show, and leave us a note or any kind of just how great we are, let us know how much you love the show. You can find us at the Hometown Bluegrass Show on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. We've been hearing from more people lately, and I wanted to read something real quick that a gentleman left us a message last week, Bobby Gillis of Harold, Kentucky, and I have Bobby. His permission to share this. But Bobby was listening, and he heard our episode that we did with you, talking about your battle with addiction and overcoming that. Mm-hmm. And so he wrote in just saying, "Hey folks, I want to thank you for the show where Josh talked about his struggles with substance abuse. I lost my brother to a drug overdose when I was young, He was handsome, charming, and a bluegrass loving guy, and he was my idol. Over the years, I've struggled to understand his decisions, but hearing Josh talk about his challenges caused me to reflect and gain more insight to what my brother must have been going through. So I appreciate your willingness to share your experiences, Josh, and I want you to know that they touch me. Keep up the great work on the podcast, guys. Bobby Gillis from Harold, Kentucky.
Bobby, thank you, man. Thank you for your note. And so sad to hear about your brother, and so sorry about that. But just know that he is out there watching you. You know, he's watching over you. They don't ever really leave us. We know where they go. We know where they are, you know. So, and the sad part of it, Tim, is that sometimes there are people that do have to die for other people to live, you know? I mean, and as sad as that is to say, that is the honest to God's truth. Had I died, there could have been other people that learned from that, you know, but thankfully that was not in the cards for me. But I did know very closely some guys that have passed on from it. And, again, you know, had I not gone through the things that I went through and then lost the people that I've lost, I probably wouldn't be on this side of it, you know? So, you know, it is a disease. It is classified now as a true disease. You know, everybody wonders, hey, why can't they just stop? Well, here's the truth. They're wondering the same thing. You know, why can't I just stop? Because I've been there. I know what that feels like. And the truth is, you know, I had no more reason why I couldn't stop than my parents did, you know, or anybody else. So what happens is the choice has been removed. Basically, I no longer had a choice. That's all I could do. And but thankfully, there's one that had all the power when I had none, and he was able to, you know, help me because I couldn't help myself. Yeah. So, but again, thank you, Bobby. And for anybody else that might be listening, you know, that's going through something like that, please write into us. I'm happy to, we'll be happy to talk about it here. Be happy to talk about it off of the show as privately as you want or need or whatever. But I just want everybody to know that that's part of who I am today, is being able to help others because people helped me. And had they not, I wouldn't be here. So that's just how it goes. You have to be able to give it away in order to keep it. You know what I mean? That's what it takes.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks so much for listening, and do write in on our Facebook page, the Hometown Bluegrass Show. We would love to hear from you, and
let us know your hometown.
Absolutely.
Let's not get away from that.
Harold,
you know?
Kentucky is where Bobby's from, and so we want to give a shout out to Harold, Kentucky, and we appreciate you listening from there. And
what kind of population does Harold, Kentucky have, you think?
I don't know.
We should look that up.
We should. Harold, I wonder if that's in far eastern Kentucky.
That's a good question.
Harold, Kentucky is it's way out there.
Floyd County.
Yeah.
Floyd County, Kentucky. That's way out there.
Yeah, that's far.
Almost to Pikeville. Yeah,
that's far eastern Kentucky. That's for sure. So looks like
way over there in the 606.
Yep.
Does it say anything about population on that screen there?
Yeah, right there. Yeah,
population 4,601.
Salute to Harold.
I wonder who that one guy is.
Yeah, why don't they just round it down to 4,600?
Yeah, I don't know.
4,601.
Because that one guy would probably be pissed saying, hey, no, I'm here. I count too.
That's
you know,
right.
so hey,
That's
you
right.
never know.
That is about as at the far end of the state of us as you can get.
You just about can't get any further.
Yeah. We are in the far western tip of Kentucky recording this podcast, and Harold, Kentucky is in the far east.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
from one end of the Bluegrass state to the other, we appreciate you.
Yeah. That is almost West Virginia there, isn't
That's
it?
pert near.
Pert near. I wonder if they say that over
Pert
in that.
near, but not plumb. I don't know. That's for sure. Oh, man. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get on with some more great Hometown Bluegrass Show. We're going to get Josh pull out this old Martin guitar off the wall here at Allen Music, play you a tune, learn you something.
That's right.
And then we're going to talk to Mr. Greg Cahill.
Really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, looking forward to it. So take a quick break. We'll be back in about 90 seconds.
That's right. Y'all stay with us.
Allen Music, located in historic downtown Paducah, Kentucky, is your source for fine guitars and all types of acoustic instruments. At Allen Music, we are experienced and enthusiastic players of everything we offer. Allen Music is family owned and has been serving musicians since 1976. So stop by and thank them for supporting bluegrass music. Allen Music, 215 Kentucky Avenue, downtown Paducah, or check them out online at allenmusicshop.com.
Custom Automotive in Calvert City, Kentucky has been a family-operated business for over 50 years. When you call Custom Automotive, you'll talk to an experienced tire and wheel expert. They install wheels and tires on thousands of vehicles every year in addition to their online sales. Stop by and thank them for supporting bluegrass music. Custom Automotive, Highway 62, Calvert City, Kentucky, 270-395-7611. Or visit them online at customautoonline.com.
The Lake House Inn at Sled Creek has undergone complete renovation in 2023. Our outdoor space is unlike any other at Kentucky Lake. With 2 in-ground pools, 18 rooms, and 4 cabins, we're just a stone's throw away from Kentucky Dam. If you're looking to make memories with your family, this nostalgic inn is for you. Welcome to your lake house, where modern meets rustic and becomes home. Reserve online at lakehouseinn.com. lakehouseinn.com.
Lake House.
So thankful for our great sponsors that help keep great bluegrass music alive. Right here in the bluegrass state of Kentucky.
That's right.
And we just have a ball bringing you this podcast. We love what we're doing, and we just hope you're loving it too. So if you got any, we've had lots of requests or whatever you want to call them, people that they want us to interview and talk to. So we're going to try to get to all those as we can throughout the year, and keep up with all that great tradition of interviewing the great bluegrass artists and people in the industry that you want to know about. So
That's right. What's a good sounding guitar right here?
it is, isn't it? It's a Martin HD 28, baby.
Yeah, man. Martin HD. That's high definition right there.
Yeah, it's high definition. That's why it's got that crystal clear sound. It's high definition.
Boy, it is.
So each and every episode, Josh teaches guitar lessons and other instruments at allenmusicshop.com. So if you want to take lessons from Josh, you can do that. Just go to allenmusicshop.com and reach out to the fine folks there, and they will put you down on the schedule, and you can take guitar lessons from a professional.
That's right. Professional.
That's right, and he'll learn you the best. So each and every episode, we want to give you a little knowledge and teach you something, and Josh is about to do that now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I am going to do something.
All right.
What do you want to hear, Tim?
Well, I mean, I wonder, we're talking to Greg Cahill in a little while, and when you did spend 5 years with Special C, and I mean, is there something that you played with them?
Yeah, I played mandolin with them.
Well, that's true. I forgot. It's mandolin and fiddle, and you have a
That's
guitar
right.
in your hand. So,
Yeah, well, I played a lot of stuff with them. Greg and I would do a lot of twin stuff together. We did stuff like Blue Skies, Smiling at Me, and we did a lot of swingier stuff like that. You know, the blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebird singing a song, nothing but blue skies from now on. That we didn't sing it; it was an instrumental.
Oh,
But, yeah,
it?
it's
That's cool.
really cool song though, man.
You know, every time I hear that song, you know what I think about? The movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams.
Oh yeah,
Did you ever see that movie?
I did, but it's been a long time.
That's one
but
of my favorite movies ever, and he sings that song in there. And it's a movie about being happy. You know, he treated people medically with happiness, and that's just a great movie. That they played that in there, and that's what I think about every time I hear that song.
He was an amazing actor.
Oh.
You know, he was so much better than he ever got credit for. Although he did finally win an Oscar, you know, for his role in Good Will Hunting,
Yeah.
which was very well deserved. And he was great in a lot of stuff, not just that. You know, Dead Poet Society. Oh my gosh, how good of a movie was that?
Yeah. Well, that's far from the bluegrass music trail there, but we just had to enlighten you with some Robin Williams.
Yeah, that's right. He was great, man. Let's see. What would you like to hear? Anything in particular? You want to hear a little fiddle tune or a little?
I want to hear "Me and My Guitar" by Tony Rice.
Okay. This is gonna be hard to do without just me, but I'll try it.
This was a James Taylor song, wasn't it? I love this song.
Yeah, it's a little different. Tony changed it up to be bluegrassy, and golly, what an awesome idea that was.
Oh yes.
And just worked great. Yes, very strange chords in this one. He did it in the key of G, and he did that one off chord there. I love when people say that. What's that one off chord you're playing there?
G7.
So yeah, it's a G7, but you've added a C note in it. So you kind of got like a mixture of an F and a G. But it's so Tony did that. But then me and my guitar, always in the same mood. I'm mostly flesh and bone, he's mostly wood. He never does grow impatient for the changes I don't know, Lord. If he can't go to heaven, honey, I don't want to go, son. It's me in the key of G, you can call me Uncle John. Any fool could easily see that we go back a long time. He's some kind of like fine to me, there's no such a thing as a wrong time. He hops upon my knee, singing Get Up, Pops, it's song time. Every now and then I'm a lonely man. It's nice to know that I've got a friend. Puts this power right in my hand. And all I got to do is the best I can, if I can, son. I got a dog named David. I got a bird named Dinah. I got a birthmark on my knee, son, in the shape of mainland China. I got a somewhat southern accent, 'cause I come from Carolina. And if you want to find us, we'll be walking right behind you. I hear horns and I hear voices. I hear strings. It seems that I was born with too many choices. What am I gonna do with all these extra fingers, son? They certainly confuse me. Wow. Maybe a few friends will phone by for coffee. We'll do a little bit of Mule Skinner blues. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Lord, it's just me and my guitar. Talk about me and this guitar. Talk about me, this old guitar. Talk about me and my guitar. Break it off, son. Something like that. I know I messed up there in that one little spot, but that don't matter.
Oh, man. Well, I'll tell you, I'm impressed that I just pulled that song out of my butt and you just like sang it. Like, I don't even know how you remember all those words.
Well, you
That's
know,
impressive.
I kind of forgot there for a second, but I caught up with
Well,
it.
that's one of those songs that it's just not like easy to remember the words. You know?
No, yeah, definitely. And the chords of that, man. A lot of people wonder about that, which I've already explained. So it's basically like the top string, 3rd fret, obviously for the G, and then that 2nd string, I don't play anything. I'm actually killing it with my ring finger, and then that's all it is. Some people will say, no, it's this. No, it's not. I played it with the man. I know what the chord is.
Yeah.
And it was this.
I played it with the man.
Yeah, I played it with the man. And so hops up on my knee, B flat, singing get up, hops, it's song time, E flat, and then the bass will go, we'll walk it up. The rest of the instruments don't. So it's hops up on my knees, singing get up, hops, it's song time. Every now and then I'm a lonely man. It's nice to know that I've got a friend. Puts this power right in my hand, and all I got to do is the best I can, if I can, son. Yeah, so that's just a little lick, or you can do it like that. But Tony almost just play that.
Yeah.
I love that part.
Yeah. That's good to know that Tony didn't play the bar chords either.
Yeah, he didn't. He did a lot of times. He would play bar chords, but not very often. Like he would do the B flat, which he would do it with his pinky, but I can't do that, so I have to do it with my ring finger. Because if I play it with my pinky, that middle knuckle locks up on me, and I can't hardly get it to undo. And this one won't go down like I want it to, so I just have to make do. That's, folks, is why I don't use my pinky on my left hand very much, is because of that. I'm double jointed in my fingers to where, like, when I try to note things down with my pinky, a lot of times my pinky knuckle there in the middle will just hyperextend, you know? And then there's been times where I have to just completely let go to get it to come out.
Like it locks up on you.
Yeah, it kind of freaks me out, you know? And it's always done that, which is why I've never really, you know, I kind of made do with my ring finger. Because I can reach about the same distance.
Well, you have long fingers, so that helps too.
Yeah. There's another lick right there that people wonder about. So what that is I'm basically playing on the bottom 3 strings, I'm playing a D chord. Okay, so those 3 strings, if I move them up to the 5th fret, that gives me an F. So if I play that over a D chord, it kind of gives me a minor. So if I go all the way up here to the 10th fret, it's really a B flat's what it is. Or if I was to play the whole chord. But so what I'm doing is I'm playing that, but it's bending it and then coming down with it. So the bend you don't actually hear going up. You just hear it coming down. So you got that on the 10th fret. You can also do it here on the 5th. You know, kind of the same type of deal, but yeah. So it's just that D shape. And then the one thing that took me longer than any of it to figure out was the very last thing that he does right before the end of the song, where he does the and then he does this. So that's so it's like I'm playing an E flat minor. So it's all right there over the 6th fret. Now you could play it like this too. You know, that type of thing. But anyway, the next chord is so it's a D note, A string, 5th fret. Then the 4th string again is one of those that's been silenced. So it's basically that's like a C chord right there. The C triad. But it's got a D over top of it. So it's essentially the same as doing this. It's like a G with the F chord underneath it. Yeah, cool stuff that it took me a while to figure that one out. And once I did figure it out, it took me a long time to be able to even make it.
Yeah. Figuring it out's one thing, playing it's another, ain't it?
Yeah, not easy stuff, man. But that's what I've always loved about Tony's style was that it's not easy, man. It's not easy at all.
It's not. You can tell it by listening to it. I mean, you just...
Some of it makes sense, but it's the stuff that doesn't make sense that I love so much.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, who else would have come up with that?
Right.
You know, I mean, now, if you listen to early Tony, you hear a lot of Clarence White. You know, because Clarence was his idol. And he played a lot like him, especially when he did, like, the... That's all Clarence stuff. Beaumont Rag. Couldn't think of the name of it there for a second. But, you know, as Tony grew up and became his own, you know, kind of his own player there, that's when all the stuff, and it all really took place after he moved back to California and played with Grisman. And then he also played a lot with John Carlini back in those days. And then that's when his playing changed and all the swing chords came out more, but all of the other stuff like the, you know, those kinds of licks or the, and a lot of his sweep stuff, I like to call it, like the, like you know, the it's all downstroke, you know, so he was just the best at that stuff, doing like multiple downstrokes and all that kind of stuff. So I love digging back into that old stuff,
Yeah.
and listening to it.
Absolutely. That's amazing.
So anyway, was that what you wanted to hear? Was me and my guitar?
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Yeah, I just threw you on the spot and you just pulled it out your butt. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's how I roll, man.
That's right. That's how we roll on this show. Speaking of doing that, we wanted to add a new segment into this show, kind of, I guess, behind the song or, you know, behind the album kind of storyline type thing. And you mentioned Grisman, and we're talking, obviously, Tony Rice. So on the first time, let's do, you know, last week I was listening to the Pizza Tapes. And so tell the folks the story quickly about the So behind the song or behind the album on this episode is the pizza tapes.
So the story that I'm to understand is that it was they were all at David's house, at his studio, David Grisman's house in California, and Tony and Jerry Garcia wanted to hang out and pick together. So David set this up and had them all come out, had both of them guys come out to his house. And basically what they did was they started tape recording, and then David went into the, one of the rooms, and they all were individual, they had their own channels or whatever, so they weren't bleeding over. But they all three picked together and just let the tape run. Mm-hmm. And I guess when they decided to order pizza, the young man that brought the pizza by, I guess, was a huge Grateful Dead fan. Mm-hmm. So when he saw that it was Garcia that was in there, he stole the tapes.
Yeah.
And
it says they were distributed widely among tape traders for years.
Mm-hmm. And then somehow or another, which I'm not sure how, but David was able to end up getting them back.
Yeah.
And that's how they put them out, was the pizza tapes, and I think they might have even been released after Garcia's passing. He may have already been gone by the time that this was actually released.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, and I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But this release, was just something that kind of came back home, if you will, to David. But it was something that Garcia and Tony both wanted to do for a long time, because they knew each other, but they'd never gotten to play together, let alone record anything together. So
that's what was so interesting to me was you brought this up several weeks ago on one of our shows, or maybe we were just talking, but so I was listening to this, and I think that's the coolest part is because on the tracks everywhere you see where it says appetizer, that's just them shooting the crap.
Yes,
they're just talking, and I was going to play some of this on a radio show, but I can't.
You have to make sure you know which ones they are, because the very first, I think maybe it's either Shady Grove or one of them other tunes. The very first time it's done, like Garcia just stops right in the middle to say, "Tony, it's an effing pleasure."
Yeah. And well, the first one right before that, they said they started playing, and he stopped and goes, "Oh, I effed that up."
A lot of F words flying around there.
But it was funny to hear their banter back and forth, and them talking about how much fun they're having and all that. And then they would just start playing. So
shout out to my friend Buddy Merriam, who up in Long Island, New York, who has a bluegrass radio show, and he had just gotten this at the radio show and was excited to play it. So he put it on one of these songs, and it happened to be not the whole song. It stopped with the Tony, it's a, F word pleasure, and he said he couldn't have gotten that thing turned off faster than the lights started going off where the phones were ringing. How the lights come on. He said the phones rang off the hook.
Oh man, that's great.
He said, I just about ruined myself that day.
No doubt.
But he had no way of knowing, that was, they didn't know, all they do is they look and they see the title. So they want to play the title, and this kind of album, you can't do that with.
No, can't.
You have to, unless you're, pay-per-view or whatever, or have a, discriminatory thing, or not discriminatory. What's the word I'm thinking of? I can't think of the word. But anyway, you have like a disclaimer in front of it.
Oh, right, exactly. Well, you can't play it on regular radio, that's for sure. So, but well, on our debut segment of behind the song or behind the album, I thought that'd be a good one to start with. And
that is so cool, though. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
And
but if there's a bluegrass song you've known for years and you always wondered, well, who wrote that, or why did they write it, or what's the story behind it? Let us know. We want to hear from you on the Hometown Bluegrass Show Facebook page, and we'll look it up if Josh don't know it, because he knows a lot of them.
I do know a lot of useless information as far as that kind of thing goes. I really
There's
do.
There's a lot of useless stuff floating around up there.
Well, and there's a lot of useless stuff, but hey, it's one of those places you don't want to go there after dark. It's dangerous.
It's right.
You don't walk around there after dark. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I do know, but there's a lot that I don't know and would like to know.
Yeah.
So if I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll find a way to figure it out, or we'll call the writer or something. We'll figure it out one way or another.
That's right.
But I highly recommend you bluegrass folks, as long as you're not, turned off completely by the
Profanity.
off-color language, let's say. It's really cool to listen to, because this is also the first time that Garcia and Tony Rice got to play together, and it's just magical in moments.
Yeah, that's what makes it special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, all right. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, I am so excited, man. We're going to talk to Greg Cahill, and I hope you guys behave well.
Talk to old Cahill.
Cahill. So,
yeah, I can't speak for him, but I will try my best to behave. Although, he tends to answer the phone with profanity.
He does. Yeah, you
just never know.
You gotta watch him. All right.
Oh, folks, he's completely harmless. And if you guys are not familiar with Greg Cahill, hopefully you are by the end of this show, because he is 50 years for Special Consensus. First off, holy crap, that's a really long time. And he's one of the best banjo players. And this is the guy that you want to know this, because he was like the guy that a lot of the great pickers today really looked up to in when they were young. Like Scott Vestal, a lot of the stuff that Scott plays is Cahill licks, and that's because he and Cahill, Cahill did a lot of playing down in Texas, and that's where Scott's from. And they used to sit down a lot together, and he would pick a lot of stuff up off of Cahill, and you can still hear it to this day in his playing. I can point out which ones he got from Greg, and then also the ones that Greg probably got from him. So
that's for sure. Well, he's a legend, that's for sure, and we're going to talk to him next, right after this. So you don't go nowhere.
Stay right here.
Unlimited Graphics in La Center, Kentucky is a full-service advertising specialty product company specializing in custom printing, screen printing, embroidery, and promotional products. Our job is to make your job easier. For almost 40 years, we have been serving customers all across America and would welcome the opportunity to earn your business no matter where you're located. Visit us online at unlimitedgraphics.com, and remember, promoting your business is our business.
For over 50 years, Puckett's Jewelry in Benton, Kentucky has been a trusted choice for fine jewelry that will last a lifetime and help you celebrate life's most precious moments. The new owners, Bart and Hannah Lewis, are excited to continue the Puckett's Jewelry legacy in Marshall County and are proud to support bluegrass music. Puckett's Jewelry on the Square in Benton, Kentucky. Visit them online at puckettsjewelry.com.
Well, hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Hometown Bluegrass Show. I am Tim Batts along with
Josh Williams.
And we are so excited to have our guest tonight.
We're kind of excited.
We're giddy excited. I mean,
it's okay.
No, it's plum giddy. I mean, I almost wet myself earlier.
It's true, he did.
Yeah,
it was weird.
It was bad, but we have the man, Special Consensus, Greg Cahill. How are you, buddy?
Well, I'm just mighty fine because I'm right here talking to you guys. So here we go.
Mighty fine there.
You have no idea what
mighty
you're
fine
in for.
Yeah. I think I do. I'm just a sweating.
Yeah,
it's a good sweat.
He has somewhat of an idea, I'm sure.
That's right.
He traveled with me enough years to know.
Yeah. Well, we to get ourselves psyched up for this interview, we've been sitting in here in my little home studio, and we have been jamming to some old Special C stuff, man. It's been pretty entertaining. So
yeah, I came in a little bit ago, and he said, "So on Carolina and the Pine, is that you singing?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "But you sound so young." I said, "Well, I was like 21, man." Yeah, that was before Greg Cahill taught me how to drink.
Oh, I see.
No. Hold it.
What the?
I knew it wouldn't take 5 minutes for that.
We're off to a good start already.
Oh, man.
Well, let me start off by saying that this is one of the best banjo players that's ever walked the planet. And I have to say this too, because he was one of my absolute favorite bosses. So this guy is now fixing to celebrate. Wait for it, Tim. Next year is going to be 50 years for the Special Consensus. Can you believe that?
Wow.
50 years. Right?
That's scary now.
Isn't
That's
that crazy?
Scary.
Yeah.
God.
Man.
So he started the band way back in 1975, long before I was born. Now you were around, but you were a young pup.
I was 6.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
so I
6
was,
years old.
and Greg will say, he was, what were you, 12? Is that right, Greg?
That's right. Thank you, Josh. Yeah, that's the nicest thing you said to me in a long time.
Oh my goodness, it's too much fun already. So, well, let me say congratulations, man, because I've seen bands come and go just in a matter of years, and for you to have lasted what's fixing to be on your 5th decade, man, that is the weirdest sounding thing to say for anybody. But yeah, you're fixing to be starting your 5th.
It's weird for me. God, I'm trying to be in denial that I'm not getting old, and I can remember the last 25, But,
well, I would hope so.
I mean, I don't know how 50 years. I can remember all of it, to be honest, but it's just beyond belief to me too.
The
So
craziest thing is for me to sit here and talk about how I was in the band 25 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Isn't
crazy.
that weird?
That is so weird.
It really is. It really, really is.
It's scary.
It seems like 2 weeks ago. God.
It really doesn't seem like very long ago. It really doesn't. And
well, I believe it. As young as you sounded on that Route 10
man, I
album.
was Well, when I joined the band initially, I had not even graduated high school yet.
That's what I was wanting to talk about. Was how did you end up under the care of Greg Cahill?
So when I was about 12, I was playing banjo. And we played in Salem, Illinois at the Chowder Festival that they had, Chowder and Bluegrass Festival.
That's right.
And Special Consensus was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the Roads and Rails band, I think. That was you and Marty and Darren.
And right.
I think it was
might have been Drew
Carson, yes.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, so that's when I met Greg for the first time. And, we buddied up because I was picking banjo at the time,
Okay.
Yeah.
And Greg's always been just awesome to young folks that are starting out, And gosh, man, when I was at IBMA, and Andrea was working with you at that point, Greg.
That's right.
And
That's
she
right.
was the one.
That's
she
right.
and Danny was the one that told me, that the mandolin position was opening up. Would I be interested in it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So how did that work, Greg? I ended up coming up there. It was New Year's
I'll tell
Day,
you how
I
that
think,
worked,
wasn't it?
because she told me you had your recording out then, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. It was you. And she said, yeah, well, Josh Williams. And I said, well, yeah, I know Josh. Sure, yeah. I said, are you trying to tell me something, Andrea? Because he's a banjo player. What do you mean, Josh Williams?
She was like, no.
No. He's a great mandolin player. I said, get out of here. Come on. What is he, 15, 17? Come on.
I was 17.
No. Yeah. And, so she's the one, really, because I had no idea you played all the instruments so well. And
yeah,
I was nervous enough when she said banjo, but anyway, so yeah, she was the one. And then when we got together, man, it was like a glove.
It really was, man. It
like
was
a glove. From the start.
It really was, because first off, Andrea's like the older sister I never wanted, and
she'll say the same about
she
you.
Will. She will. That's exactly where I got that from.
Yes.
She's like, he's a little brother I never wanted.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was the one that told me about it, and when I had went up there to audition, she was already up there, but she had to leave immediately after I got there, basically. We played maybe 3 or 4 songs, and her mom at that time was in bad shape, so she had to take off and go
okay.
over to Indiana. So I ended up the very first day that I ever played anywhere live with Special Consensus, I ended up playing bass because they had
I remember.
Yeah, Don Sternberg came over and played mandolin.
Wow.
Yeah, it was at Valparaiso, Indiana, at the front porch.
Front porch. And I said, after Andrea had to leave, I said, well, have you ever played bass? Well, I never owned one, but yeah, I can play a little bass. Oh, okay, good. And you were with your dad. And I said, well, what do you guys think about staying overnight? You come to Indiana and play bass. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay.
That's what we did.
And we did. We had 2 full sets and
sure did. I had to play the electric
just
second
kept
half,
shaking
though,
his head.
Oh,
because
my upright was tearing you up.
It was tearing my fingers up, and luckily Don had brought an electric bass with him because he wasn't sure which one of us was going to be playing bass, so he brought an electric.
Right.
So the second half, I played the electric bass on it. But I played Andrea's upright the whole first set, and it was killing me.
Man.
Was Greg wearing the cowboy hat like he isn't strong enough to bend out?
I don't know if it was that particular hat.
No, I don't think I was wearing a cowboy hat. I wore the hat outside a lot.
Yeah,
but not so much inside.
He really liked his barrel racing hat. That's the one he wore more than any of them. Was the barrel racing hat. But, he did wear one a bunch though.
Belt buckle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I wish we had recordings of that night though, to tell you the truth, because people were blown away, and that we were just absolutely. I mean. That was, if you look in the dictionary about winging it, that was the epitome right there.
Yes, that really was.
Because it was, we hadn't played together and you were playing bass and it was great.
I was really young enough to not be smart enough to say, no, I can't do that. So I was like, sure, I'll do it, and it worked out.
And you were young enough to not be the Josh Williams you grew into, to be the wise guy either. So that was perfect,
I really was. I was just too nervous at that point. I don't know. Maybe I wasn't yet. I'm not sure.
No, that was great. Mm.
Oh, man.
No, that was the start of it, though. There we were. Yeah. The next time you came back, you were the mandolin player.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I played.
And your dad would let us. You could play, I think, wasn't it like 1 weekend a month for a couple months while you were getting ready to graduate?
Until
and I
do
remember distinctly, we were on the road, and I was like, well, Josh, we got to get you home for your graduation. I said, no, I'm a musician now. I don't need to go home for my graduation.
Well,
you didn't.
Well, yeah. Well, I was at graduation. I'll say that. I was at graduation, but.
Were you? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought well, you missed some part of it or something.
Well, I missed something, and I don't remember what that was, but maybe it was
baccalaureate or something.
Something that we had that I missed. But when we had graduation, I graduated on Friday, and that that very next day we started at Silver Dollar City. So basically, I graduated and then I took off on the road. And played my very first gig was a week's worth of playing at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri.
Wow.
Right.
Just threw right into the hot fire.
Oh yeah, just right into it.
That's awesome.
It was fun though, man. I miss those days. It was so much fun.
It really was fun. We were a lot of laughs, and with Andrea, it was very funny. He's like, "These boys, what? Now, come on, Josh, what do you? Don't say that." And Greg, you're just as bad, and you're supposed to know better.
Yeah, there is a lot of that.
So Andrea was bossing you around too, huh?
Andrea can get a little bossy.
We're going to have her on the show and talk to her.
Yeah, she's going to have to come on and defend herself or something. But
absolutely,
I have to say she's one of the best team players of all time in any band.
Absolutely,
really. She would. The only thing she made us do, I had a van that I had bought with the other guys, and to save money, we decided to get it as is, which means it had no air conditioning.
Yeah.
And so one of her requirements was, well, I'll join the band if you get air conditioning in that van, because I'm not going to sit there with my makeup running all over my face, sweating like a pig, And so we put air conditioning in, and that was it. There we went. Yeah.
It wasn't great
Boy.
air conditioning, but it was air conditioning.
Right. We
She
tried.
didn't
We
specify.
tried. That's right.
It wasn't that
Yeah.
that 280 air conditioner. You roll two windows down, go 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh my
man.
goodness. Well, the Route 10 album is definitely a favorite. I mean, let's talk for a minute about Carolina and the Pines. I mean, that's probably still your most requested song, is it not?
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is, and we still play it every show, whether it's 2-set show or 1-set show. And most of the time, we close with that. And I don't think 98% of the time, no matter where we are in the country or not in the country, somebody always asks for that song.
Yeah.
Somebody does.
That's
it's
awesome.
really amazing. Yeah.
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 So do you
Yeah, it's
remember
still-
how you guys came up with that to be able to record it? I mean, whose idea was to do the Michael Martin Murphy song?
I think
we were all chatting about it.
I
and
think Timmy was the one that brought the idea though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Timmy
Yeah.
Dishman. I think he's the one that
probably
brought the
was.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said this would be. Yeah, he did.
And I can't.
Um,
It's practically somebody else's version. And I can't. Was it Classified Grass that had that version? Because it's not Doyle's. Doyle actually cut it before we did, and it's not his version
he
of it
did?
because it's his is quite different.
Oh, okay.
But
But
and-
we changed something in the, but not what. Yeah, we heard this other version. We listened to Michael Martin Murphy's version, and that was different.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think we just ended up with it. It sort of fell together. I mean, once we all listened to it, we all loved the song, and when everybody just really thinks this is a great song, it kind of falls together,
Yeah.
when you get together. And play it. I mean, we played through it a few times, and that was it. That was the arrangement. That's it.
Yeah,
So,
that's really how it happened too. I mean, and you know what's really cool is after I had started my own band, we were playing somewhere, and one of the big event thing, the big headline artist in the evening time was Michael Martin Murphy, and he came to me, like he came and found me, which freaked me out to begin with because I thought I owe him money or something. Something's up. Why is this guy looking for me? And he said,
Royalties.
he said, "You've sang my song before." And I said, "Yes, sir, I have." He said, "I want you and your band to back me up tonight on it." And I was like, "Really?"
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's an honor.
Yeah,
So,
we ended
so
up.
then what you're saying is he came to you and he
Said
asked
he
you
knew you.
to sing his song with you.
Said he didn't know you a long time, though.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh, that's
actually
way
what
cool.
happened. Yeah, yeah. And we ended up doing that a few
Wow.
times.
Wow,
So
that's pretty neat.
it
Oh,
was.
man.
It was very fun. Very cool. And
Yeah.
and he knew that I sang that from our version of it, from Special C's version. So
Mhm.
he heard it somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's awesome,
He heard it.
Yeah,
What a
It
great
is.
guy, too.
That's great.
that is cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. Well,
He's a great guy. I'll tell you. Years ago, Orrin Friesen, right? The
Mhm.
DJ down in Wichita.
I remember one.
And long story, but his young son, who was 7 at the time, died of a brain aneurysm,
Ryan.
and it was so sad. And Marty was in the band playing guitar then, and we flew down there, and they asked us to be pallbearers, and went through the whole ceremony. And way in the back of the church, there was Michael Martin Murphy. Man, he was coming from, I think, New Mexico or somewhere, and he abandoned his. He was on tour, and he just came just for a few hours to be there, just because he was good buddies with Orrin. And I thought, well, there's a fellow, there is a friend. He was.
Yeah.
That's when I met him, and that's the only time I had a long conversation with him of any sort. But I was just so impressed by that. And he was just
Absolutely.
very humble and kind of in the background. And I said, wow, there's a fine human being right there.
Yep, absolutely.
So-
Yeah, I remember when Brian
Mhm.
passed away. That was very, very
Oh,
unreal.
yeah, that was a powerful thing. It was surreal. It really was. Yeah. So,
so
but cheers to Michael Martin Murphy. There you
Yes.
absolutely.
go.
Josh
Yeah.
is going to cheer his L8.
Mm-hmm.
He's addicted.
That's right. Yeah, I'm addicted to Technically, it's called a late one, but I don't know a single person in Kentucky that calls it a late one. They all call it L8.
Oh,
So,
well, maybe because that's what's on the
L8,
label
yeah.
right there.
well, it
L8.
says L81, and then up at the top it says a late.
Oh.
You just gotta.
Your thumb was over the one.
No, I
didn't
understand.
see
It's hard to see when your head's up your butt. I get it, but
Okay.
it. Man.
oh man, my dad used to have all kinds of sayings like that he would say to me. He'd say, "It's hard to see when your head's up your butt, ain't it, buddy?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah." He said, then his big one was always, "Well, if you're not going to use your head, you might as well have a butt on both ends." So there you go.
You heard that a lot, probably, didn't you?
I heard that more than anything.
Oh. Oh man! So you guys got any new music coming soon, Greg? Or I know your last the Great Blue North album, is that your most recent recording, right?
It is. Yeah, that came out in last May. And yeah, we're fixing to go back in. I was just talking with Allison about that, actually. We're going in the fall. We're trying to have a release maybe at least in the first quarter of 2025, since it's the anniversary year,
Yeah.
See if we can film stuff in the studio and or film we're going to have a big 50-year anniversary show at the Old Town School of Folk Music, where we've had them every 5 years. I think the 15th year was the first year we had it, and it wasn't there. It was some club in Chicago, but then too many people, you couldn't fit them all in. And the Old Town School isn't that huge, but
Yeah.
we might even have to do a couple of shows this time. But it's been tradition, to just do it there because they're so supportive. They bring in real bluegrass and have all along, since the 70s. I mean, Bill Monroe used to play there once a year, and Jim and Jeff, the first generation bands came through there. So it just seemed like, we should be doing this here.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
That's awesome.
Somewhere in October, I think, of 25, we're going to have this gathering, and we do it every 5 years, and make a T-shirt that's going to turn into a nightshirt with all the names of everybody who's been in the band on the back.
That is so true. I remember
The
having.
font will be so small nobody will be able to
Oh
read
yeah,
it to
yeah.
fit
I
it.
remember.
That's right.
I remember
Yeah.
my name being the very last one on it.
Down there around the butt.
Yeah.
But no, it wasn't even that long of a list. I mean, it was still a pretty long list. I mean, but
Yeah.
It was
but
the-
it was mine was
Yeah.
the last one on there, and it would say 1999 to, and then it was blank. It didn't have anything on there because I was
Yeah.
still in the band.
I
That's
got you.
right.
So
Maybe
Yep,
they did it
yep,
alphabetical,
yep.
and it was the W because you were last. Maybe.
well, I was also the most recent member,
No, I got you.
but
Hmm.
also
But
now it's there's still like 20 names after me or more, so that's crazy.
well, no, to be honest, we're up to, I think Michael Pruitt, newest member on Mandolin, is number 51. So you
Almost
figure
one guy a year.
50 years, 51. I mean, that's not terrible though,
No,
I mean,
no, that's
if you think about it.
no. I think that's still less than Doyle
but-
Lawson. It might even be less than Rhonda Vincent. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Yeah.
So, are you still
Yeah.
doing the education in the schools thing that you've been doing?
Yeah, we do it sometimes. Back in the day, there was a lot of funding for that. And there was state funding more than there was federal funding. So a lot of the states, through their arts councils and arts activities and all that, would have money to do it. And we would, and I'm sure Josh remembers, because we would do it oftentimes, like if you had an evening show at some theater or some place in town, we contact the schools and say, hey, we'll do a school program for a very reduced fee because we're going to be right there in town. And it was great because, first of all, back then, there really were a lot of kids, especially in different parts of the country, who never saw a mandolin for sure, and maybe heard a banjo. But it really was an introduction to bluegrass music, and that's what we were trying to do.
Yeah.
And so it worked out really well, But then the funding started going up, and we still do it though. Sometimes we still find a way to do it. We never charge a lot of money just because we think it's a good thing to do.
Right. A
I
couple
think
years.
with the internet made the music more accessible, which is fabulous. And It's
Right.
great. but that also means that, I think even some young folks now will at least know what a banjo is because it's the coolest instrument in the band.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the chicks dig the banjo players.
Yeah. Everybody wants to pedal faster.
That's right. Well, I first learned about this program a couple years ago. The local elementary school asked me to come and talk to the kids about bluegrass music, and so I started Googling things, and that's where I learned about your program and got some information because I didn't have an itinerary or anything like that. And I think I ran across a really awesome video on YouTube of Josh, like 12 years old, doing a video.
I wasn't 12. I was 18. I had just joined Special C.
He was like 6'11" and about 89 pounds.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
I was about 6'4" and weighed about $120.
Yeah.
But I remember that because of the special trick photography in television, because I walked off one direction with the mandolin and I came in from the other direction with the fiddle at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah. And Sierra Hull was on it on the same video. And she was
Sierra
really
Hull and Ryan Holiday were the two hosts.
Yeah.
Ryan Holiday, right.
Yeah.
And the Chapmans
were on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though they were all 40, we just didn't know it. They just looked so young.
That's who we need to get on here and talk to is the Chapmans. That'd be
Oh yeah, that would be a blast. We'll get there.
That'd be a hoot.
We'll get there.
That'd be a hoot. Yeah. Yep.
They've got a fancy video podcast. Ours is just audio.
Well, we haven't worked up to theirs yet.
They got like a big fancy studio in their
yeah.
music store and everything. So.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's very nice too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'll get there one of these days, buddy.
Yeah, when we get rich. Exactly.
Yeah.
We keep interviewing people like Greg Cahill, man. We're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time, and man, this is going to be like the perfect reason to have a Route 10 reunion on one of these shows with me and you and Timmy Dishman and Jamie Clifton. I remember playing one of these school shows in the morning. I don't remember where we were, but I do remember that we were playing, and I had said, basically I was going to put the mandolin down and grab the fiddle. And I put the mandolin down, I picked up the fiddle, and I walked back up to the microphone, and I said, and this is a fiddle. And about that time, Jamie Clifton just absolutely ripped one. And he didn't think it was going to be loud, apparently. And it was about the volume of a trombone, I think, And I remember him looking down. It's exactly like that last one is exactly what it sounded like. And I remember he had this just panic look on his face, and he looks down and he starts like trying to move his shoe on the stage like it was a shoe that made that sound. Yeah. And it was one of them old school like stages where they still had the curtain and stuff on either side, and Greg gets over by one side of the curtain and just wraps himself up in it where you couldn't see him anymore. Everybody was just cracking up, and they left me to be up there like, and this is a fiddle, and then I'm like, yeah, we like to have a good time, I mean, even the teachers were laughing because it was so loud.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
It was there was no getting around it. It was a huge fart. That was it.
Yes.
Period.
The microphone picked it up. Good.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
it didn't
man.
need a microphone.
No.
It was its own megaphone.
God.
Oh my Lord.
It was something. That was there. I would challenge any band in any genre of music to have laughed as much as we did when we were on the road, the four of us, as the Route 10 band. I mean, there were times where we couldn't even breathe. And this would be during shows even sometimes, like right in the middle of a show. And
that's kind of how I feel right now. Like my face is hurting.
Just wait till we get done with the show, and then I'll tell you all the stuff we couldn't talk about on the show.
That's what I was going to ask.
Other
Greg,
side.
That's right.
Is there any stories you can tell us from when Josh was in the band that we can say on the air? Or is there any,
Oh man,
got any good dirt on him?
There were, yeah, but that should be the after party. I'm sorry.
That's right. Here comes the wheelchair.
No,
Here
we
go.
actually did have just a great time. I mean, we laughed all the time, and somehow got through it all. Even on stage. Just I think that's what made it so that we did so well with that version of the band was that, you know, we really put our heart and soul into the music. But in between songs, everything, it was all spontaneous, you know, and stuff was happening all the time. And like that, what we just talked about.
Yeah.
And we just enjoyed it, and we just loved, we loved hanging out together as much as we did making the music. And
Absolutely.
big thing.
Good luck finding that.
Yeah, that's
with other
rare. I was
people,
going to say,
you know?
that's a rare thing probably for most bands.
It really is.
Yeah.
But we had it, man. We had it, and it was first off like when I joined the band, and you know, when Greg and I was able to start playing stuff back and forth, we got to where we knew what each other was going to play, and we could literally twin each other in something that we didn't even know was fixing to happen. And I don't know how I have never had that connection with anybody else before. That was just something that happened. You know, it was just magical moments that happened when I got in the band with Greg. So.
That's cool.
Yeah. Your dad would say that too. Like, how, I don't know you guys doing that and that song. You know,
Yeah.
Because we never did.
Yeah, we've never done that
It
before.
would just happen. Yeah. And we didn't sometimes not even look at each other, and it would just come out. And as soon as one guy started something, and the other guy would pick up on it, and then it worked. I mean,
Cool.
it's like, oh. Oh.
Then you'd see us laughing on either side of the stage, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One thing I find interesting is you guys have mostly always been a 4-piece band, where most bluegrass bands are a 5-piece band. Is that just what you prefer, or?
Well, it's honest to God, it's economics. You know, I mean, we were just trying to make it through. Around that time, there were a lot of bands that were really good, that were kind of full time, but everybody had a job, and we didn't have another job. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We would teach or do whatever, or play, record and stuff like that. But, and it's, we all love the fiddle. And the good thing when Josh was in the band is that he could pick up the fiddle and play the fiddle or two, you know. But, seriously, when you think about it, you get that fifth person, and there's another motel room, and there's another seat in the van or whatever vehicle you're traveling in. And you're already, if you have a 4-piece, I figure you're splitting the money maybe 6 ways, you know, because the band's going to get 2 after you pay the commission to the booking.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to get by, and my whole thing was always, and I always encourage people, and Josh will testify that, you know, if you get side gigs on that, as long as it doesn't, you know, conflict with our schedule, take them. That'd be great. I was happy when people would play other gigs, because then you'd stay around longer, because you'd realize, okay, I can pay the rent, and I can feed myself, and I can even buy a new pair of cowboy boots. So there you go, you know. But that's what it's always been to this day. You know, I mean, we always have fiddles on the recordings and everything, and once in a while get a little player at festivals, you know, people we know to come up and play a fiddle tune or two. But
and there was a year or two there while we were as the Route 4 group, or Route 10 group rather. There was for a while, very short time, maybe about a year or so, that we were offering a 5-piece, because that was when we would have Kenny Stone on the fiddle, who's a great fiddle player from up there in northern Indiana. But
Yep.
But we basically, even still then, like every once in a while, we'd have people take us up on that, you know, but it was more money, you know, so you could get the band for this, or you could get the band with Kenny Stone for this, you know, and a lot of times people would still choose, you know, the lower amount. But there were a lot of shows that we did as a 5-piece with Kenny on the fiddle with us.
And the fact that he was in Indiana meant that he was drivable, you know, to get to Chicago, or we could pick him up on the way if we were heading south, you know, which we did a lot. And it was all logistics and money. Yeah. It was just, how do you survive? And keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, looks like you guys got a busy schedule coming up for this summer. Lots of gigs booked on your website.
Yeah, it's still filling in a little bit here and there, you know. We're happy, you know. We're making it through all that, and of course, it costs a lot of money then to make the next recording, and so we have to plan on that and leave open space to be able to go to the studio, you know. But it's all good. and we're the luckiest guys in the world. I mean, Allison Brown is the best producer that I've ever had, and she's produced our last 6 recordings.
Man, that's really proven to be a great relationship for you guys, and I'm really, really excited about that for you. I mean, you guys have gotten Grammy nominations galore since she's been a part of everything. You know, the IBMA awards, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's really awesome. And congrats. It's really awesome to see you finally getting the recognition that you've deserved for so long. And I really, truly mean that.
Well, shoot, that's nice of you, Josh. I appreciate that for sure. I mean, she just brings out, you know, she just has that sense. She just hears the stuff, and and I don't mean just. I mean, we all sit down and figure out songs, and then sit around the table and work on an arrangement. And she's got some great ideas, and we all contribute, and then we go in and record it and say, oh, we could do this better or that better. But she just has that sense. It's almost like what you were just talking about with you and me when we would communicate. You know, it was just like, man, we'd just be on the same page, and we had a blast. And she and I played twin banjos on each of those recordings, and it's just such a gas to hear her. You know, she and for all of us, she makes you grow. You know, like you play on a song, and now wait a minute. You already played that lick. Now catch 5 minutes to come up with something else. You know, and so it's great. She pushes every one of us. I mean, on every instrument and vocally too. So it's really great.
She's really great. She's very talented. I mean, obviously her own music is awesome, but the way that she's been able to work with you guys has just really been cool for me to be able to watch. And of course, you know, I've been able to come in and do a few things with you all over the years too, which has been so much fun. I still get called Captain Obvious for my role in She Took the Tennessee River.
She Took Tennessee River. I know. That is so great. And you hammed it up perfectly by pointing out the sea. Oh yeah, you know, and, that was great.
Well, when all that went down, you know, we were standing in front of the studio, and you know, she's got that wall of ivy right there in front, and that was they told me that was going to be the green screen. Okay, so then I see the video, and they didn't do nothing for the green screen. They just left it a bunch of green kudzu back there behind me, and I was like, I thought they were going to do something with that. Like, but I mean, it's still funny to me. Like I was happy to do it. You know, I mean. I've always been able to.
It was great.
Been willing to ham it up for you, man. So.
No, it was great. It was It was when I first saw it. I was like, oh, this is okay. Thank you, Josh.
Well, just so you know, Rhonda still has the record for that because I've dressed up like an elf for her twice. Oh. So, but
twice.
I have twice, not just once, but twice.
Now, where could we find that on the internet, Josh?
I don't know. She'll gladly share that with you, I'm sure. So maybe we can put that on the 50th anniversary flyer or whatever, you know.
There you go. Okay. All right. You never know who's going to show up, even the elves.
That's right. You never know, dear.
That's awesome.
We used to have a lot of fun, Tim, whenever we were on the road because you know, we would be on stage. I always had this shtick that I would tell whenever I was introducing Greg, and you know, some of it I actually borrowed from Chris Waltz, who used to play guitar in the band. He would always have this thing about how, you know, Greg was the only original remaining member of the Special Consensus. The other 4 or the other 3 were tragically killed during the Civil War. But you know, so I took that, you know. But then I would always talk about how, you know, when I joined the band, Greg's hair turned gray, and then Timmy and Jamie joined the band, and it just turned loose. And there was all of these different kinds of stories that we'd always, you know, come up with and stuff on stage. But the thing is there were some people that didn't understand it. There were some people that thought, you know, that it was, I don't know how to say it, maybe like cheap shots or whatever. But what they don't realize is like we all loved each other so much that like the more we could rip on each other on stage, the funnier it was to us, you know. And
that's exactly right. Yeah.
But yeah, and we you know, I loved the fact that I was the one that got to introduce Greg because I really have so much respect and even did then had so much respect for the guy because I was a huge fan of his as a kid, just from his banjo playing alone. And then that was the first year that I saw Special Consensus. And of course, as soon as I saw Marty and Darren together, I was just, that was it. That was them, the Special Consensus and the New Tradition. Those two bands were it for me. And, that was, and for me to be able to stand up there and be the one that gets to introduce Greg was just very cool, And obviously we made a party out of that, like we did everything. But it was just a lot of fun, and being able to share the stage with somebody that you respect so much is just really cool. And and to this day, I still have more respect for Cahill than I do most anybody else, simply because. Most people before they get to their 50th anniversary die, so
Oh man.
Well,
we're glad you're still alive, Greg.
thank you. I appreciate it, Josh.
No,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. No, but
And he was
I
so
knew that had to be
serious.
going somewhere, man. I knew that was going somewhere.
Yeah, that was just going too long.
no. Well, and the
Yeah,
thing is how many guys do you know can lead a band for that long? Seriously, the stress, the work that goes into that, and hats off to you, Cahill, for being able to do it for even half that amount of time. But the fact that you've been able to do it coming up on 50 years, man, is unheard of, and it's awesome. And I applaud you for it and congratulate you for it, for sure. Like, honestly, for real.
Yeah.
Well, that's great of you.
And I'm glad you're not dead. So
Yeah,
I'm
we're
glad
glad.
you're still
Yeah,
here.
well, I'm glad too. Right
Yeah,
now,
well,
at this
good.
particular
Let's
moment in
keep
time,
that up.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Let's keep that up for a long time, okay?
Only thing I'm mad about
just
is
keeps.
only thing I'm
What?
mad about is I went on your website to buy a T-shirt today, and you don't have them in the fat boy sizes.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh man!
we might.
They probably have them
Yeah.
out there in the back of the van or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
awesome.
so you've
Yeah,
you've gotten how many IBMA awards now? You've gotten Album of the Year for Rivers
I
and
think
Roads.
it's seven. Yeah, we got album there for Rivers and Roads, and then we got an instrumental recorded event for Rivers and Roads. I think isn't that the one we did Fireball on? I think me and Allison. Yeah,
Yeah, I see.
and then
Was it-
and then we got
Oh, okay.
Song of the Year was for Chicago Barn Dance, and collaborative event of the year was for Great Blue North. But then there were some others, and I just can't remember. To be
for
honest,
the
I know we
Lightfoot
have
song,
7.
right? Was it the Lightfoot song that got the collaborative?
That's it. Yeah,
Alberta
Yeah,
Bound.
Alberta Bound.
Alberta Bound. Right.
Well, they play
Right.
that song a lot on the radio, on Sirius, not in satellite radio.
Yeah, that was great for us. We were really surprised, to be honest, that because it was just different, and it isn't hard grass, and
Yeah.
we were pleasantly surprised that it got the airplay, and it still does. So,
Yeah. Oh, it does.
yay, we're happy.
Yeah.
It's hard to
We're
beat.
happy guys.
It's hard to beat a Gordon Lightfoot song done bluegrass style. It really is.
Yeah.
And
Josh
he-
has been
Yeah.
on a Gordon Lightfoot kick a lot lately.
It's been bad. It's been every single day.
Yeah.
I've been listening to something of Lightfoot's for the last 6 months now. I guess it's been. But yeah, if you could read my mind, love, what a thing.
Oh,
my thoughts
yeah.
could tell. Yeah, I've been on
Josh,
that
quit
one.
trying to kiss me, man.
Ah,
Come
sorry
on,
about
man.
that. Don't fight it.
Well, your voice is perfect for singing the songs, Josh.
Well,
Any of them. Boy.
and there'll come a day when I'll be able to do that. I still want to be able to get. Somebody told me I want to do a Tony Rice record before I do anything else, and somebody told me that I needed to do a Josh Williams sings Tony Rice sings Gordon Lightfoot, which is kind of like the Nome Pakelny plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny Baker
plays Bill Monroe. Yeah.
Plays Bill Monroe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so we'll see. But I'm
That'd be
sure that
good.
I'll include one or two on that. But anyway, also before I get to rambling too far and not be able to reel this back in, congratulations to Greg Blake, your guitar player and singer, for being Male Vocalist of the Year.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
I think it was well deserved and surprised. We were just all very surprised for the good,
Yeah, absolutely.
That people finally recognize he's been doing it a long time. He recorded a bunch of, probably 7 or 8 anyway, recordings with the Bluegrass Missourians many years ago. And then of course with Jeff Scroggins did a bunch of recording, and he's he's going down to Nashville and various Colorado, different places, and recording on different people's records all the time, and so I was really glad that he finally got that recognition, because he's just a great bluegrass singer,
And just a great dude, man. What a nice guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a genuinely good feller,
Mm-hmm.
And his guitar playing is real interesting to me, because
he's very good. A lot of people don't realize that, and probably because he's so showcased as being a vocalist, But his guitar playing is really good.
He kind of keeps it, you can hear the melody, and he doesn't always go way up the neck, but somehow he's got his own style, literally his own style. And
I watched a video of y'all at the Floyd's General Store.
Floyd Country Store.
Country Store.
The country store,
about a year ago with Carolina. Y'all were doing Carolina and the Pines, actually, and his guitar break in that, and I thought that same thing. I thought, wow, that's so interesting, but it's so different,
Yeah. It works. However he does it, he's consistent.
Yeah.
So,
He's a great
we're real
singer.
happy for him.
Yeah. Well, you got a great band right now, and you guys are very popular. Always a show favorite. So,
Well, we've been fortunate, that's for sure. I've been very fortunate to have good people coming in and out of the band, and there's a lot of highlights like the Rock 10 band for sure. And it's but I can't believe it's 50 years. When you're doing this, I mean, you're thinking 2 weeks ahead. Where are we going next week, and do we have rings, and what's the deal? And all of a sudden the year goes by. I mean, and I'm the worst at that, Josh, because I'll say, if somebody will say something, yeah, you remember? Oh yeah, that was about 4 or 5 years ago. When I'm around Jackie, my wife, no, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I know
I'm the worst about.
I'm doing the same thing now, man, so don't feel bad.
Yeah,
All of those times that I made bald jokes or any jokes about anything.
it's all coming full circle.
Yes, it is. And we used to laugh every time Greg would bring the old donut pillow on the road with us, right? And then until the first time I had to have one of those, and it was no longer funny.
Exactly.
I even called him up. I said, Greg, I will never make fun of that again, and I want to apologize for every time I ever did. And he said, oh, God, why? And I told him, he said, oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. God.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, we got to start working
That's
on that
the other
Route
part
10
of it.
reunion for sure.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So before we have to cut all this short, Greg, I know one thing that I do want to, because you have never been one to do this. And to this day, I still don't understand why, because I thought for sure, like when Route 10 was going strong, that we were moving towards that name change from Special Consensus to Greg Cahill and the Special Consensus, which your cell phone voicemail has said for years. But for you to not have changed it now, even to this day, it's still just Special Consensus. Like, is there, do you not like having your name out front?
Well, that's interesting that you say that, because when I was on Pine Castle Records before the last one or two that we did, Tom Riggs was insisting that I change the name to that. And I just, to this day, I'll tell you why, because I am not a singer. I'm not, I sing some parts, and it just doesn't seem right to me because I'm not a J.D. Crowe or something like that. I'm just Greg Cahill. And I just figure, if you don't I don't want to put my name out front like that, because everybody's equal in the band. I mean, I'm figuring each person in the band is really a good musician and a good singer, a good player, and what have you. And so when you don't say the name, I think there are more people who know the names of people who've been in this band than in a lot of other bands when there is the name of the person in front. And not to say you shouldn't have your name in front if you go Lawson or Ron Levinson and that, but I'm just a banjo player, and I'm not a singer. I've never sang lead, and so I just thought everybody being equal should have equal credibility or equal exposure,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometimes it makes people actually look and say, well, wait a minute, who's that? Who's that playing mandolin? Yeah, Greg plays singing. Okay, and Dan Eubanks, yeah, right. And I just figured that's just a better thing for the people in the band. And I know, eventually they're going to move on, but a lot of them had their name out in front of people when they were in this band, and that gave them an extra bump when they decided to go do it on their own,
Yeah.
And it just seems like a good thing to do, because we all have mutual respect for each other, and everybody's, pulling their weight,
Well, and that's something.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, it absolutely does. And I figured that honestly was what your answer would be, because I know that's how you've always been. And I still, to this day, can show up somewhere to play. And even with the new thing that I've got going on with Don and Ron and all those guys with the legacy thing going on. And I still run into people that say, hey, Josh, we used to watch you when you was in Special Consensus. We used to come up to, somewhere, wherever, and they'd end up being from that area. Actually, there's been some folks that have been down, like, even in Texas and stuff, that was like, yeah, we used to watch you when you come down here with Special Consensus, and, you'd play the Steak and Ale and all that kind of stuff. Like, wow, that's a small world there, because that place wouldn't hold a whole lot of folks,
Right.
But yeah,
right.
So I still run into that.
Well,
man.
I figure that would, that might be more incentive to feel like you're getting the respect, because as we all know, it ain't easy being on the road and bouncing around and sleeping in different places and eating on the fly and what have you. So I figure at least if you can, get some recognition for everybody, then it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll speak.
Sammy does that too. I've had talks with Sammy Sheeler, and he was kind of the same frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's been Lonesome River Band. I mean, sometimes promoters will put it out Sammy Sheeler, and even Greg Cahill, especially since it's in terms of the name of the band. That's pretty much where he was at too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Well, I'll speak for all Special C fans, and we just want to thank you for 50 great years of great bluegrass music.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Well,
I'm a huge fan. And
thank you guys. Jeez.
Well,
you're welcome.
We're pretty awesome, but
you're welcome, Greg.
You're not bad.
For the time that I was there, you're welcome. So, hey, real quick before you go, a couple of things. One, real quick, I would love for the people that do listen to this for them to hear what what made you want to start. Like, was there a banjo player that you heard? Was it the Kingston Trio? Like, where was that first exposure to the banjo? And then, because I know at one time you did play the accordion. Is that correct?
Yeah. Just like the jokes, the accordion and the banjo. There you go.
Well,
yeah. Well,
but that was a real thing.
To be honest, it was a real thing. And, my mom and dad, my mom was a great piano player and played like the honky tonk style and everything. And she played basically the real book, the American songbook. And my dad was a singer. He sang tenor in the church choir. So there was always music around. And because my mom played the piano and we're on the south side of Chicago, that's how I ended up playing the accordion. And that was a good thing for me, though, because I learned music theory, and I played for about 7 or 8 years. But they loved Dixieland music, so a lot of the time when I was going to sleep at night, they would have Eddie Peabody on the record player, and they'd play all these old swing stuff. And it was the tenor banjo really that caught my ear. And then in high school, at the end of high school and into college, it was the Kingston Trio. Dave Gard, man, he was my hero. Long neck Vega banjo, and there you go. And then I got into Pete Seeger, and so I went and bought a long neck banjo, a good one, and a Vega, and a 12-string guitar and a 6-string guitar, and just tried to do all that. And then of course you hear Beverly Hillbillies. There was one guy around town who played really well, and then when I first heard banjo, and it was Scruggs, I was like, man, how many people are playing that banjo? Because all I knew was the strumming stuff, and so that was it. I was so curious, and I just thought that was the coolest sound ever. And then started working on the old 3-finger style, and that was it. I couldn't put it down, and that's how Mark and I ended up. I mean, Special C actually kind of formed with different names, but the same bunch of 5 guys, 6 or 7 guys actually, electric guitar player, drums, the whole bit. Just getting together and playing music. We'd go to the University of Chicago Folk Festival, and here's the real thing, the Stanley Brothers, or I think, I don't know if Scruggs actually played it, but the Pinnacle Boys, and people you've never heard of who were really the real deal. And so we'd go out in the hallway and just jam. And so anyway, the Special C, we get together, and then people say, oh, come and play at our party. And then pretty soon, let's try to play some clubs. So that was probably 73, 74. But it was 75 when Mark Edelstein and I said, we got to get this out of our system. Let's try to do this full time. Just let's give it a run, a couple of years, and just do it. And the other guys either had jobs or were working on dissertations and school and all that. So 75 was when we really formed what we called the real touring band, and getting ready to record and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's where it went. But Crow, Scruggs, and then Crow did it for me.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else. I mean, thought that, he was the man, because he could, he had the Scruggs stuff down in his own twists and played different material, and man.
Yeah, and I know Jerry Douglas has kind of called him almost a country electric guitar wannabe. He just happened to play the banjo, and it was kind of the same. I've noticed over the years, kind of the same with you though when it comes to the swing stuff, because I know that you were a big Charlie Christian fan. Yeah, I used to. Well, that's when it wasn't drug style. I was trying to play Charlie Christian licks. I listened to him a lot, and I listened to Benny Goodman, because the clarinet is kind of sort of in the same register if you really sit down and play along. And so, and then of course living like 6 blocks from Jethro Burns for 18 years, and running into him a lot, and we played lots of shows. We'd open for him at the Earl of Old Town once a month for the weekend. And, the majority of people that used to listen to him on the Opry, Homer and Jethro, had no idea he could play the way that he could.
Yeah, really, for real, And the reason he and Homer moved to Chicago was to be in the WLS Barn Dance, the National Barn Dance. That's why they moved to Chicago area, and they were here for a long, long time.
I did not realize that. Yeah, I just assumed he was from there.
No, he's from Kentucky somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And they moved up here. They made and this is right after they were in Vegas all the time. I mean, they were stars. They were, on all the TV shows, Johnny Carson, who else before that. They moved here to be on the Barn Dance, and it still did their touring and everything. But then Homer just dropped dead one time.
Yeah,
they were scheduled to play a show. And he just walked out of the house with his guitar, fell down the steps, and had a heart attack, I guess. But and Jethro, he was good friends with Elvis. He knew Elvis. He knew all those because everybody had such respect for him, for Jethro. So he had all those connects, and he came to Chicago. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you got the good fortune to be able to live right there by him in Evanston, right?
Yeah. I would see him walking to the music store, and I was so nervous. I asked him to play on my first solo recording. That was 1980, and I didn't know anything about.
Was that
being
Lone
in the
Star?
Studio for real. It was, yeah.
You had the prettiest Western shirt with the roses on the little petals and all that. And he had all this long flowing hair, but none on his face.
That's right. Yeah. There you go. But he was great. Jethro was like the godfather here. He was everybody's friend, unless you were a jerk. If he really, if he didn't like you, he'd let you know. That's for sure. But he liked it, that was just if you really were a jerk. And, there are some people in this business that sometimes the nicest, but not many at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I couldn't believe it. He played on it.
If we do a Route 10 reunion, we need to get everybody in person or something.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun. Wouldn't it?
Yeah. Get us all in one room.
Be great.
Yeah. Just get everybody in a room and we just record and play music.
And then we can encourage everybody to call in. We can have different folks call in.
There you go. Yeah. Ask questions.
Questions.
Well, maybe we can meet halfway between here and Chicago, like in Metropolis or something.
We can meet halfway between here and Chicago. What is that, like 20 minutes?
Yeah. That's good. That's only 6.5 hours.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, it's about 20 minutes for us and like 6.5 hours.
We'll definitely figure that out because Jamie Clifton is down near Oklahoma City, I think, these days. So we gotta, we gotta find him a way. And of course, Timmy lives in Nashville, so we're good there.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely. I'll contact those guys and we'll make that happen.
Let's do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. You guys shocked me, as you recall, at the Station Inn a few years ago. And
that was so much fun.
I couldn't believe it. You put that together, and they all showed up.
There was so little planning on that. Nobody knew what was going on because, like, everybody started when you kicked off Carolina in the Pines. Like, everybody was supposed to have put their instruments down and walked off the stage, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. They started the song with you, and then they stopped, and then like. We're back in the back, and I'm back there hollering like, "Hey, don't play that! Don't play that!" And of course, Timmy's back there going, "Shut up, Josh! Shut up!" And I'm like, "No, they're going to play the song without us." But anyway, it ended up working out. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. That's awesome. That was a lot.
That was a fine night. That was great. Yeah, big surprise.
We like to end with playing a song. So what do you think we should play?
How about In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida? I think that would be appropriate,
Yes.
Like living
was that on the Lone Star recording? I can't remember. Was that on?
Right.
Well, as much as we talked about Carolina and the Pines, I don't see how we can get away with not playing.
Well, let's
that.
do that. You might have.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Josh is like, that's fine with me.
That's fine. Or we can play that and then play something at the end or something. Maybe something that. Showcases Greg Blake on vocals or something. You know, that would be cool to be able to do as well.
Well, we can do it. So, well, Greg, thank you so much for taking your time to chat with us and let us make fun of you and all that stuff.
Roast, it's been great, guys. I'm glad you guys are doing this. Really, it really anything to bring the music to the attention of the world, and have people know about it. And you're bringing out the personal side of the music. And I think that's fabulous, because I think a lot of people like to hear that. They want to know.
Absolutely.
About it.
And Tim and I were talking before this had started where we're trying to come up with a little segment of like the stories behind the songs and stuff. So, there's on this album, there's, a few things, which of course, the very first song on the Route 10 album, was Say You'll Stay in My Arms, which was written by Ron Spears. And, of course, Ron replaced me in the Special Consensus when I left to go with Rhonda. And, of course, we lost him last year, and just unexpectedly. And that one, that really... That was kind of a wake-up call for a lot of folks, I think, because I know it was for me, because here I was, not touring anymore. I'm on, the other end of it, of the music side, and working a normal day job. And then finding out like a week or two after he had actually passed away, where, you know, it was like, oh my gosh, you know, I couldn't even be there at his thing for him, you know? So it's like, you know,
I know. I the same thing. Yeah. He's the first out of those 51 people in Special C. He's the only one. He was the first guy to leave the world.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's kind of one of those.
That's powerful.
Give your flowers while they're living, you know, type of thing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, but I will never forget the time that Ron left his camera in the Special C bus. And let's just say he got a photo back that Greg will have to answer to all the people that are listening to this when they come and see Greg at the performance with the Special Consensus. He can tell them what they saw.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because I was the one who took the picture because I wasn't going to do that. Yeah, he left the camera out on the table backstage and they go up and play. And I took the pictures with it.
That's right.
About 2 weeks later, Charlie, their guitar player, took the film to be developed, and the guy at the drugstore called him up and said, "Are you sure you want me to, you know, develop every picture on this room?" He said, "Well, yeah, sure, of course." Let's just say it could have been embarrassing. And
I have to say this, Greg, and forgive me, we'll probably cut this out, but maybe we won't, who knows? But that's the beauty of this show. But I will say that we ended up getting an email later on that said, who are these assholes?
who are these assholes? That's right. That's for real.
Literally.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
You can't out have a good time with Special C when they're around. When Special C's around, we're going to have the best time there was.
Oh, man.
Greg, I love you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us.
Yes,
I know.
thank you.
And tell Jackie.
Well,
thank
this was
you
a joy for me.
It's always good to catch up with you, man.
Likewise, and you and Tim, this is great, and thank you for having me. Really, it's just a good thing. It just feels good, and it's great.
Well,
I appreciate it.
Well, keep us on your radar and come be with us again. You know, and we'll definitely work on the Route 10.
We'll work on this
thing.
Route 10 thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Heck yeah.
And then we'll come up with all kinds of stories to tell about each song. You know,
yeah.
You never know.
Oh, that's
what
a
kind
fact.
That'll be a 2-hour
Good and
special.
bad, the
right
good,
there.
bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The good, bad, and the smelly.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, there was that tape. Oh, that's another story.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, let's save that one
for the reunion
show.
Yeah.
Greg was so mad when he found out we were using his recorder, though. He's like, "No."
Yeah. Right.
You guys get your own. God.
Yeah. Is this not funny to you? Oh, God. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dot.
Yes. We'll leave that one for the next time. But give Jackie our love and tell her thank you for letting us be a part of y'all's evening this evening, and thank you for being a part of ours, Greg.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you, man. And
you
here's
guys. Thanks a million.
Here's to 50 more years, my friend. I love you.
That's right.
Okay, I love you too, really. And this was a real treat. Thank you, guys.
All
Thanks.
right, Greg. Thank you, man.
We'll do it again.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right. Okay. Bye-bye.
And now here's Carolina in the Pine.
That's right.
She came to me, said she knew me, said she known me a long time. And she spoke of being in love with every mountain she had climbed. And she talked of
Welcome back to the Hometown Bluegrass Show. Oh my goodness, my face hurts from laughing so much. I don't think I've laughed that much in a long time, and that's a shame.
Well, that's good. That just means we need to do this more often is what that means.
No doubt. Well, that was such a blast to hear you guys talk about the past and your old fun times together. And I bet traveling the road with old Greg, I bet that was a hoot.
It was the best.
Mm-hmm.
I had the best teacher that I could have possibly had for life on the road because, when you're out there on the road, man, so many things can go wrong quickly, but being able to laugh through it is a big deal, and there's some times in my past that I haven't been able to laugh through some stuff, but for the most part, just the time that I spent on the road with that group was just way more laughing than ever.
I bet. Well, and you hit them right out of high school, so you were
Literally.
a young teenager and just all of a sudden graduate high school and just take out on the road. And what a great mentor and a great person to be around to handle all those situations.
Yeah.
So.
What's funny is when I first went on the road, and I didn't know this for like the first year until Greg finally told me, but he said, when right before we went out the first time, your dad had a talk with me. And I said, really? Because what's funny is they're exactly the same age. My dad was and Greg. They're both born in 46. And he said, I just want you to know I'm trusting you with my son. And Greg was like, okay. Okay. And he did, man. He looked after me. Like he really did. I mean, he respected me as a musician, but I never drank. He never was anything, he would never let me drink. Once I turned 21, that decision became mine. But he was never going to be a part of anything like that. And I respect him for that. And the fact that he respected me and respected my father enough, to actually be that way. Not everybody would be that way. Some people would probably just say, hey, screw it. He's out here. He can make his own mistakes or whatever, but he wasn't like that. So Greg did a lot for me, and I really do appreciate that.
Well, he's done a lot for bluegrass music in general. I mean, he really is just a legend. And like you said, I think during the interview, you can hold a band together and run a band for 50 years in the bluegrass industry or any music genre. I mean, it says a lot about the kind of person he is. So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that takes not only somebody that's nice, but a good manager, a good promoter, a good businessman. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah,
so,
and he is all of those.
Yeah, that's super. It was so good to talk to him. So,
and I have seen him, which we didn't talk about this, but I have seen him absolutely go crazy when his cell phone wouldn't work. I've seen him lose his freaking mind, and it was so funny. In fact, one time we were going down the road, and his phone wasn't working, and he was, hello, and finally, we thought it was just the funniest thing ever because we'd always joked about this was going to happen one day. And he finally said, hello. God, and he rolls the window down and he just chucked it out the window.
Oh, my God.
And then he reaches down in his briefcase between the seats, pulls out another phone and starts dialing.
Oh, my Lord. That had to be the day before the day of iPhones, $800 phones.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. I think it was before the iPhones. So, yeah, I mean, I think iPhones were a thing, but they weren't like, everybody's got an iPhone now.
Right, exactly.
Kids are born with the ability to open iPhones now.
No doubt. So,
but, yeah, that was a funny time.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got a fun job doing this.
I love this, man.
We get to talk to a lot of neat people. So
I love it. I'm glad we're doing it.
Me too. So much fun.
Let's keep doing it. What do you say?
You want to?
I do.
Same place, same time next week.
Let's do it.
All right. Sounds good.
I hope y'all will join us too now.
Man, I guarantee they will on the Hometown Bluegrass Show presented by AllenMusicShop.com. See y'all.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Bats Creative Audio production.